Okay, we're filming on my bed tonight because although I have my whole setup downstairs, I just want to be cozy right now. And so we got dim lights, poor lighting, and we're just going for it because this is the vibe tonight. And I'm going to be talking about something that's, I don't know how this is going to make me look, honestly. But this is something that I decided. And this is my public journal. I don't know why I do this. I'm probably going to stop doing this very, very soon and I might announce this soon, probably just on my Instagram, probably not here. I'm probably not going to record a podcast episode potentially for a while. It could be depending on, what's coming up and if I full send on what I've decided on. I might not record until summertime of 2027, or maybe even after that, maybe not ever again. This might be my last episode ever. And so if you follow me on Instagram, you'll find out why soon. When I'm ready to share this information and make the announcement, then everything will make more sense. But for now, it'll just have to remain a mystery. And I wanted to talk about something like totally random and weird, but I want to talk about this because recently I decided to stop dating entirely. And also to stop thinking, hoping, wishing, dreaming of having any kind of relationship even in the near future. Because I've made the intentional, conscious decision to full send in this goal that I've decided that I'm going to move into this next year. So starting January of 2026, my whole world is going to be turned upside down, and we're going to have some really big shifts and changes, and I'm just going to be so busy. And I just decided, I'm going to marry that, and I'm going to be married to it, married for probably 3 to 4 years. And then after that, I will have more time, potentially more availability, potentially to explore, other things like dating. But that's not the only reason. I decided to stop dating because I started to realize that dating is actually really bad for my mental health for so many reasons. And a lot of that I don't want to talk about publicly. However, I do feel like it is important to talk about eventually when I'm ready. There are things that I feel like people would benefit from knowing and understanding about people like me and why it is so difficult for us to allow anybody into our intimate life and intimate spaces. So I've just realized that I'm just like a rare breed that doesn't do too well with just integrating with other humans. And I know that's not going to make a lot of sense without me unpacking things that I don't want to unpack. So once again, that's just going to remain a mystery for just the time being until I'm ready to open up about it. And I also just recognized, and I had to be really honest with myself, that I am not a happy person when I'm dating somebody. I'm actually unhappy, blatantly unhappy when I'm dating somebody. And I think a lot of that has to do with just me not finding the right person. I do believe that the right person would make me really happy, or at least, let's put it this way, the right person would support my current state of happiness properly. and wouldn't make me blatantly unhappy. Because I don't believe that other people make you happy. I make myself happy, and my kids make me happy, and we're a happy bunch. Like, we're the happiest people on earth. And so I've just learned that bringing another person into my space reduces my happiness significantly, to the point where it's just not even worth it. So, hold on. Yep, okay. Well, okay then. So, okay, what I actually wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes along with my decision not to date anymore. I've also decided not only to retire from dating, I've decided to retire from, like, being a pretty girl. And this dates back to, like, 2002, 2001, 2002, when I first entered junior high and started to learn, because this was back in the day, before social media, before a lot of media, actually, and girls were not as influenced on beauty standards as they are nowadays. So junior high was, like, my first real, like, pretty girl exposure. And one of my very best friends, actually my very best friend, was the most popular girl in school, and she was considered a pretty girl, and by default, like, so was I, or whatever, and just learned from her. She taught me the ropes, basically, of, like, being a pretty girl and what that means, and, like, the expectations, the responsibilities. You guys know how in Mean Girls, they, like, sit Katie down at lunch and they're, like, telling her the rules of how to be part of them, and, like, if you don't wear pink on Wednesdays, you can't sit with us, kind of thing. And that's, like, low-key kind of how it was. It was like, you can only sit with us if you meet these standards, and these are the standards that the world will hold you by. And that's kind of how I understood beauty, outside of my own inner circle of influence, my immediate influence, which was, like, my mom and my sisters. So in Utah, because I moved here when I was before middle school. I moved here before middle school, and but went through middle school and high school here. And in Utah, like, Utah is known to have very high and unrealistic beauty standards, and it's always been that way. And the standards are really hard to obtain if you're not naturally that way. So for me, like, naturally my frame is actually rather, like, muscular and bulky. I was a gymnast growing up, and that is, like, my body type. So if you've ever seen, like, a gymnast, like a big bulky one, that's me. I am very muscular, I'm super strong, and I don't even, like, work out. So, like, if you saw my muscles, like, you would think that I work out my arms because they're, like, big and they're really strong. I don't. They're just big and strong. And like, I have really big, strong legs. Like, I'm just, like, a big, strong girl. I could probably, like, make it as a competitive weightlift girly, like, no joke. But here in Utah, that's not considered beautiful. What's considered beautiful is, like, underweight to a scary, very unhealthy level. And so, I mean, this even started in elementary school. I remember people talking about girls who had eating disorders, even in elementary school. And I remember feeling like that was really shocking then. And when I moved into middle school, that's when I learned, like, okay, so eating disorders. That was the age where I quit gymnastics. I sustained a significant knee injury that I have yet to recover from. I had to quit gymnastics, and essentially all high impact sports and moved more in the direction of dance, which I had always done kind of on and off as a kid, but went fully into gymnastics. Anyway, so I had to give up a significant part of my life that actually forced me to be healthy, like extremely, extremely healthy. And then I became a dancer, and this dance culture in Utah that's mostly like girls mostly would do dance because it actually like added a level of hotness. So like if I physically am at like a level 6, if I'm a dancer, that boosts me up to a level 7 kind of thing. And I got into dance, and that introduced me to more pretty girl standards of middle school girls and how they would dress at school to show that they are dancers. They would wear like dance pants under their jeans and like fold it up, like pull them up so that when you like bent over and your shirt came up, like people would be able to see your dance pants, or they would like come out underneath, because dance pants back then, I don't know if this is how they are now, they were like wide. Jazz pants were like wide at the bottom, almost like a bell bottom, and they would like come out at the bottom of our like sweatpants or whatever, and like we would show off the fact that we were dancers. Like I said, my best friend, who was the most popular girl in school and like pretty girl standards, 10 out of 10. She was also a really good dancer. So it was just kind of like the thing, like if you're a pretty girl, you also dance or do something like that, like cheer or dance. And then you don't eat, and you're underweight, and you're unhealthy, and you dress a certain way. I was always really unique in my choice of dress, but I was also always really on point with trends. But I did go through a phase where I was like business casual, and like nobody in school did this. I was the only one who did this, and I was like, I would wear like business clothes to school, like button-ups and vests and like slacks and nice shoes. Like I always looked really nice and put together. And then high school was when I actually learned that I was like actually pretty. Like I didn't have to try. I was pretty without trying. And I learned this because of all the attention that I got. And in middle school, there were some things that happened that kind of actually like shot my confidence like a ton. And then moving into high school, I actually moved schools. So I was supposed to go to this school for high school. I chose not to because I wanted to like move away from those people and start fresh. And I did so, and I did, and it was very much fresh. And that's when I learned like, oh, I'm really pretty, because I mean, all through high school, I was never without a man. I had a different boyfriend probably every other 3 months or so, and never, like, I was never without multiple men messaging me and me entertaining multiple men at once, but usually like in a committed relationship. And then 3 months later I'd switch to a different boy, and then 3 months later I'd switch to a different boy, and like never missed a single school dance. I was always at the school dances. Somebody was always asking me. And I was considered one of the pretty girls, and I didn't wear like a whole lot of makeup back then. And I had like really great skin. I was, like I said, I was very, very thin. I was a dancer. So I just like naturally had like, I had all of the points, right? Like naturally pretty, great skin, pretty hair, nice body, dancer. And like, if I would have naturally fallen at a 7, I was definitely like in the range of like 8, 9, and 10, depending on the day and whoever, your opinion. But that was like where I was at in high school. And I learned that those were the things that a woman needs to do in order to like attract a man. And I also was never taught that you don't have to like seek out male attention. You don't have to enjoy that. Like, you don't, just because all these men are hitting you up constantly and asking you out constantly, like, you don't have to entertain it. Like, you can just, it doesn't have to be your only focus. But this was the first time it was ever happening to me. And I was just like having a lot of fun with it and paying a lot of attention, like just giving it a lot of attention, just giving it a lot of attention. And I learned some things from this. I learned from my high school experience that the things that make a woman valuable is her level of attractiveness, essentially. And that attraction is based on physical standards and sexual performance and putting out and how much a guy can get out of you. And so that was essentially what taught me, like I said, beauty standards and the value of a woman. And then those standards and expectations, those didn't ever really change until I got divorced last year. I don't know, 2 years ago or whatever. That I finally realized, like, the only reason why my understanding of attraction and value of a woman are those things, like the only reason why those are my understandings of those things, of those concepts, is because I've never tried anything different. Like, I've never done anything different. I've never reinvented the wheel. I've always just done the same thing over and over again. And I always got what I wanted. And that kind of became too much of like a security blanket, too much of a comfort zone. I was relying too much on my game that I had acquired just over those years of my teenage years up to my young adult life and then into my adult life. Just like, I know game and I have game and I know how to pull whatever I want. And if I wanted a man, I could pull that man if I really wanted to. And then I would actually like take advantage of my good looks. I would use my abilities, my game, and my cuteness and my looks to just like gain advantages. I know what that sounds like. Like, I never slept with any of my professors. I never flirted with any of my teachers. I never slept with my body. Like, it was never anything like that. Like, I never did anything that quite that dirty. But things like if I needed something from a guy, I knew how to get it from him. And I don't know. Like free drinks at the bar, or a free meal, a free this, a free that. I don't know, just get out of jail cards, just like here and there, get out of jail free cards, VIP entrances, and just think like, I just turn on my charm and smile and be cutesy, and like, I get what I want. I can get whatever I want. I literally can. And I just started to feel kind of like, I don't want to be that anymore. Like, I don't want to be that person anymore. And when I took a step back from dating and I started reflecting on like the type of men that I have had around me throughout my life, and just realizing that it comes down to me. It comes down to me and how I present myself and the game that I play and how I pull these men and why they're attracted to me. Why are they attracted to me? it really wasn't that hard to figure out. It took me like 2 weeks, okay? I took a second and I sat down and I just thought back to the very beginning. When did I first start attracting men, and what was I doing then, and how has that changed over time? No, it hasn't changed. I've been doing the same things. I've been playing the same game. I've been pulling the same shit. I have not changed. And I'm always like, it's always the same. Why does this always happen to me? And I've watched like other videos where women will explain, like, if you are really good looking, like, you will have a terrible dating life. And all these things, like, just like slamming, like, basically we can blame a lot of a really pretty woman's, good looking woman's problems on the fact that she's just pretty. And the fact that she will be used and abused just for that. Used and abused just because she's a 10. Just because she's above an 8. Just because she's just really hot. And, the type of men that like that. The type of men that have that ego. That just, that having her on his arm adds to his hotness, right? Like, if he was a 6 and he's got an 8 on his arm, that bumps him up to a 7. And so, like, now he's using her to get hotter and more attractive. And it's not even about, like, who is this girl? I want to understand her. I want to know how, like, what makes her tick. It's about, what can I get out of her? What can she provide me with? And if she can't give me anything, if she can't give me that status that I seek, that ego boost that I seek, and whatever else behind the scenes, if she can't give me those things, or if she won't, then they don't care for her. They don't actually care for her. So I decided, after putting all these puzzle pieces together and doing my own little investigation and investigative discovery, what I have discovered is that I can change these things. These things are in my power. I can change this. There are things that I'm not going to change. Like, I'm a girly girl. I'm not going to change that. I want my twinkle lights and I want my nails and I like my hair and I do like to look nice. I will get dressed every day. I will look presentable. I even enjoy some makeup sometimes. And I like my silk sheets. I like the color pink. Pink. This isn't just for show. I actually like pink. Pink is a beautiful color to me. So there are things that I'm definitely, like, there's a difference, right, between being a pretty girl and being a girly girl. But, so, like, there are things that I'm just, like, absolutely, I will not change. Because that would be, like, changing who I actually am, not how I perform, right? Like, me being a pretty girl is a performance. That's an act. That's an act that I adopted at the age of, like, 16 years old, 15 years old. Embodied it, slayed at it for another 20 years, and then decided I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire as the pretty girl that I've always been, as the girl with all the game, as the girl who can pull whatever the hell she wants and get whatever she wants. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to intentionally not do those things. I'm going to intentionally not turn on my charm when I want to get something. I'm going to intentionally not manipulate people so I can get what I want out of them. And that does sound a lot worse than it actually is. Like I said, I'm talking about VIP. I'm talking about getting a VIP spot. I'm talking about getting a free drink. I'm talking about, like, harmless things. Okay, I don't sell my soul for gross things. I don't cheat my way to the top. Let's put it that way. I have a lot of integrity. So, but I know how to get what I want, like I said. And if I have, like, a boyfriend or a boy toy or whatever, like, I know how to charm him. And if I wanted to, I could get whatever I wanted out of him. And I although as an adult woman, I choose not to be that way, I am also now, as a retired pretty girl, intentionally choosing not to do those things anymore and ever again, because I know what kind of man that attracts, and I know how not valuable that is, and I know that I don't want that anymore. And although it's been fun being the center of attention, although it's been fun getting whatever I want, pulling whatever I want, although it's been fun jumping from one man to the next, although it's been fun experimenting and exploring, and although it's been fun holding a lot of power as you enter a room just based on how you look, and it's been fun holding a lot of power just knowing how to play, I'm just ready to show up super duper raw and vulnerable and real. And although that scares the living daylights out of me because I've never done this before, I'm ready to do this. So I've made some changes to myself and my lifestyle. And not that I'm intentionally trying to be unattractive. There is a little part of me that is, like, I am trying to be unattractive so that I don't attract any men right now, because I don't even want to be tempted by the idea. I really want to just focus. There's a little bit of me that's kind of trying not to be attractive, but for the most part, I am being honest with myself, and I'm asking myself, like, what part of my current lifestyle is really true to, like, who I am. And I've started paying attention to how I dress and the clothes that I wear, and I've realized, like, I like comfortable clothes. Like this shirt, for instance, like, I like comfortable clothes, and so little by little I'm making small adjustments to my wardrobe, and I'm changing how I dress because I want to be comfortable. I want to look nice, but I also want to just be comfortable, and I want to feel good in what I'm wearing. And that doesn't mean accentuating my curves. It just means I want to feel good in it. I want to feel cozy. I want to feel like, something's not tight back here and my bra strap is distracting me from being able to, like, get an A on my test, And so, like, those things are important. So I've stopped wearing bras. I've changed how I dress. I've changed how I exercise. I used to run every other day, and then I would do like a HIIT strength training workout every other day. And I was really muscular, and I was really lean, and I had low body fat percentage. And I was really hot mama. And I said, no, I don't want to be the hot mama anymore. I know what that means. And I know what that attracts, and I know the value in what that attracts, and I am done with it. I'm retiring. Okay. And I'm changing how I do my makeup. I used to wear makeup every single day, and, I think eventually I'll get back to that, because I've always been more of like a natural look girly, just like a little bit of a foundation, some mascara, and that's it. Like, I'm super simple, and some blush. Very, very simple girl with makeup, always has been. But I am also, like I said, currently, I just haven't been wearing makeup. I haven't worn makeup in like a month or two, apart from like certain occasions, going out, going to church, those things. But like day to day, I don't wear makeup. I only wash my hair twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week. I was blonde, and I love my hair blonde. And I feel like I've never felt more me in my life than when I had blonde hair. And so I do plan to go back to blonde. But I took the blonde mostly out, replaced it with darker hair, and to save on money right now, and also time, because like I said, with what I'm about to be focusing on come January of 2026, I'm not going to have the time or the money to be at the salon touching up my blonde. And so we're back to this. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't love it. Like, this is okay, but blonde is me. I'm going back to blonde as soon as I can. And although, you know, some people would say, oh, that's just like the Utah girl beauty standard talking, but, and I might change my mind later, but no, I like my hair blonde. I feel, like I said, I feel like that's me. I feel like I was always supposed to be blonde. I was born blonde. I was always dyeing my hair as dark as I possibly could, and I don't even, it's so funny. I'm like, why was I doing that? And I'm like, no, girl, you were always supposed to be a blonde. So, and then what else? Oh, so like I'm changing my workout routine because, I don't actually enjoy working out. I don't actually enjoy it. It does not bring me a sense of fulfillment or joy because I've realized that I don't work out for me. I work out to look good. And I work out to look good for gaze, right? Like the gaze of others, like the male gaze, for instance, and to pull what I want, to use that to my advantage and to manipulate and control situations. And so I was like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do what makes us feel good and what makes us so, so happy. And that's trail running. And so I stopped working out, like exercising, lifting weights, HIIT workouts, those things. And I started trail running because I actually love that. And that makes me super happy. And I love being on the trails. And I started doing a lot more mountainy things and mountain therapy and just being in the mountains on a trail or on a watercraft, on a reservoir in the mountains. And I've just changed a lot. I've paid attention to even the way that I like have my house, and I've changed how my house is. I've actually leaned into my girliness, and I've made my house a lot more girly. And whereas before I feel like I was trying to be more standard, and now I'm like, no, screw that. I'm not standard. I'm me, and I'm going to bring me into this space. And this is my first home. This is my first home I've ever owned outright on my own. I've owned other homes jointly with another person, but this is my first time ever owning my own home. And I want it to reflect me in every possible way, all the sides of me. This right here, what you're seeing, this is Lilith. You're meeting Lilith. This is my Lilith space. And this is my dark goth, sexy girl side, with my black canopy and cute little twinkle lights and my silk sheets. And what else did I change? I changed my car. I was driving a minivan before, and although that's definitely not a pretty girl car, I am driving a pretty girl car now. I'm definitely in a MILF mobile now, but that is more me. That's more in alignment with me. I've been wanting to get out of that minivan basically ever since I separated from my ex-husband, because that was his car. He bought that through and through. That's him. He is a minivan man, or a van man. He always wanted like a van, and that's just not me. And so the car that I'm in now is more me. And so it's like literally I've just dissected every aspect of my life, and I've just asked myself, like, why did I do that? Why do I do that? What do I actually want to do? What is more in alignment with me? And ultimately, like, when I outline the type of partnership that I want to have and the type of qualities that partnership would need to have in both partners, myself and my partner, I want to make sure that I'm in alignment with that, and that I'm attracting somebody else that's in alignment with that. Somebody else who prioritizes the things that I prioritize. So if I am being hot and sexy and charming, then I'm going to pull somebody who's just here for that, and whatever that gives, whatever advance that gives him in his life, right? Whereas if I'm not focusing on my external looks, and I'm focusing more on the things that I want to prioritize that will bring me the type of partnership that I hope to have someday in the future, right? Not the near future, but in the future, then hopefully I'll be able to pull something completely different than what I'm used to. I know that sounds like I changed once again for men, and that's not true. I changed for me. I changed for me because I was sick and tired of a broken record. I was sick and tired of reliving the same shit over and over again. And I got so sick of my own shit that I was like, no, like something's got to give. And so, other things had to happen to help influence this. Like I had to get off of certain media sources to exclude myself from like pop culture, modern pop culture, and modern beauty standards. And just like when you're scrolling and you're seeing the exact same face and body over and over and over again, it's really like it's like a what do they call that? Indoctrination. It's like indoctrination. They're indoctrinating you and me. I'm being indoctrinated to believe that that's what my face and my body are supposed to look like, and that's how I'm supposed to act, and that's the kind of car I'm supposed to drive, and that's the color of hair I'm supposed to have, and that's how much money I should be spending on my face. Like, I had to remove myself from those spaces because I felt like I had been indoctrinated, and I needed to remove myself to come back home to myself and realize like how much of me and how I perform and how I show up is influenced by these media sources. And so although I still have like profiles and I'll check them every once in a while, I'm not scrolling and I'm not paying attention. And it's really crazy what happens after a while when you spend enough time away, when you pop back in and you just kind of check back in, when you start to see those faces that modern beauty standards say are beautiful, when you start to see those faces, they actually look really weird to you. Like they look very unnatural and bizarre. And you actually wonder, like, why is that considered attractive? It's so like puffy and pudgy and weird. Like it's weird. And so for me, like it's helped me to realize like that is not me at all. Like obviously, with me taking a couple months off and then popping back in and seeing it and thinking that it looks weird and it's like not cute, that helps me realize like, oh, like modern beauty standards is actually not in alignment with me and my personal beauty standards at all. So, anyway, I don't want to shame anybody who actually thinks those things are beautiful because like if that's in alignment with you, then fantastic. I'm just talking about what's in alignment with me and why I've decided to retire as a pretty girl and why I've retired from dating and how this has helped me immensely. Like I just am so much happier. I feel like I've never been more aligned in my life, and I feel that in so many crazy ways, really good ways, and it's been so good for me. It's been so good for me and so helpful, and highly recommend it for every woman. And I know that some women, like after a big divorce or a big relationship shift, like some women will like shave their head. And I feel like for me, like this is my version of that. Like I might not have shaved my head, but I shaved my head in all these other ways. And I get it. I've even considered shaving my head. I'm not going to lie. I'm still considering it. I might do that. It actually sounds really like invigorating and exhilarating and refreshing. But I've shaved my head in all these other ways, and I just feel like I'm reinventing myself, and I'm reinventing what makes me feel good and what makes me feel valuable. and what makes me feel beautiful in all of like the opposite ways of like modern pop culture. So I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've missed that I wanted to touch on. Yeah, I think that this is going to be the conclusion of season 1 of the Elise Elizabeth podcast. And I think this is a good place to stop because, like I said, I'm going to be going through some really vigorous, intense changes in the coming year. And then it only gets more intense from there. And I want to go all in on that. And I hope by the next time that I record, if I do ever record again, I hope I'm a completely different person. I hope that when I record, I sound nothing like I sound right now. And I hope that I look nothing like this. And I hope that the vibe is completely different. And I hope that you can visibly see with me the rebirth and the reforming that happens, that I am making happen. I'm being intentional about this. I'm forcing this. I'm pushing this. I feel pulled. I feel pushed, but I'm also pushing through this. And I'm choosing this, even though it's choosing me too. And I know that I'm going to be completely reborn through this experience. So, say goodbye to the old Elise. The old Elise can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead. Hopefully that's how it is, in the best possible way. Thank you for being with me through this journey of season 1 of the Elise Elizabeth podcast. This is the end. Until next time, over and out.